Hey everybody, and welcome to another My JavaScript story or My JS story. This week I'm going to be talking to Dennis Ushakov. I think I said that somewhat close, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to just remind us who you are really quickly?
Yes, I'm team lead of the WebStorm, and I work at JetBrains, mostly on the WebStorm, and I used to work a lot on RubyMine. That's me.
Very cool. Yeah, we had you on episode 223, which wasn't terribly long ago. It was this summer. And we talked about WebStorm, which was really cool. This podcast is much more about getting your story and telling people how you got to where you are, which is kind of interesting. And I also want to point out that if you work on WebStorm, you're primarily working in Java. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll probably dig into a little bit of both and talk about your programming experience in both Java and JavaScript. Let's go ahead and just get this started, though, with the first question, and that is, how did you get into programming?
I used to play lots of computer games when I was a kid, and I still do. And I believe quite a lot of kids got into programming this way. Like, I'm playing the computer game, I want to make my own game, and that's how it's started. I said, like, Dad, I want to make my own computer game. I don't know how to do it. And my dad brought me a book. It was about Turbo Pascal.
Good old days. Turbo Pascal, yeah.
And I started learning and started experimenting, and I decided to go to another school, to the more that had more orientation on maths and computers. And I'm very thankful to my teachers in maths and computers, to the Nelly Uldaltsova and Sergei Pakhomov, that helped me a lot. And they allowed me to experiment, and basically on the programming lessons, I just usually did something I wanted to do, not something that was like prescribed by the same
That's
school
very cool.
rules or something like that.
Very nice. So how old were you?
When I started, I was I think 14 or something like that.
Nice. Hey everybody, this is Charles Max Wood. I just wanted to talk to you really briefly about JS Remote Conf. We just picked speakers. Things are looking really good, and we're really excited to cover a broad range of topics for JavaScript developers. So if you're looking to learn things about Node.js, about becoming a better developer, about deployment, about mobile development, and much more about JavaScript, then come check us out, jsremoteconf.com. You can also find it by going to devchat.tv/conferences and then picking the conference you want. We have last year's recordings there. We have this year's conference coming up, so make sure you get your ticket, and we'll see you there. So then how did you get into doing Java and JavaScript?
That was in the university. My computer science practice teacher invited me to take part in the internship program at Intel.
Oh, cool.
And I successfully passed the interview, and I started to work on Apache Harmony. That was the first open source implementation of Java, and I was working on the UI team. And basically, the Apache Harmony was my first big project.
What was that? I'm not sure. Oh, you said it was the first open source Java. What were you doing on that project?
I did a couple of UI controls. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I think something like JSpinner or something else. I also the implementation of the accessibility classes that allowed to not on the core accessibility mechanism, but like on the support for exact components, like for spinner and something like that.
Cool. So you got involved in the Intel project, and you started doing Java there. When did you get into JavaScript?
It was a lot later. After university, I switched to JetBrains. A lot of my friends worked at JetBrains, and I wanted to try something different. And I went to the RubyMine team and worked, I think, for about 4 years on RubyMine. And I decided that I want to try something else. And there was the opportunity to lead the WebStorm team, and I decided, why not?
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about WebStorm. Like, where did it come from, and at what point did you actually get involved?
The WebStorm development started long ago, before the actually WebStorm product was announced and released. It started like a part of IntelliJ IDEA. If you're doing Java, you need to edit some XML files, and if you like editing XML files, there's nothing. It's quite simple to do the HTML from the XML support, and if you have the HTML and you have the XML, and probably you need to just embed JavaScript, and you need to add some CSS. So basically, WebStorm functionality was available in IntelliJ long before the WebStorm product started. After that, JetBrains decided to do the IDE for the web developers, and at first it was like PHP and WebStorm were like a single product, but we decided like some people don't need the PHP, they just want to do the JS stuff, and just like maybe they are front-enders, or maybe they are doing the backend on the Node.js, so they probably don't need the PHP stuff, and that's how the WebStorm appeared.
Now, were you the first team lead there, or did you kind of take over the team from someone else?
No, I did take that from the other guy, Dmitry Zhemerov. It was a funny thing because the WebStorm team was somewhat unlucky. They got the new team lead once in a year. And at the end of the year, the team asked me, "Are you going away?" I said, "No."
Oh, wow.
And no, I'm staying with you. And it was like the curse was broken, and I'm staying for, I think, almost 4 years.
Very cool. So I'm going to dig right into WebStorm, because I think it's interesting just how popular it's become. I mean, a lot of people kind of held on to whatever text editor IDE they were using before they came into JavaScript on a full-time basis. But a lot of people, and I see a lot of tutorial videos being recorded with I keep wanting to say JetBrains, being recorded with WebStorm, just because it's easy and it does a lot of things for you. And so you don't have to think so much about your editor. You can just hop in, fire it up, and go. How does it feel to be working on a project that so many people rely on to do their job?
It's really exciting. You know that the things you are doing are going to be used by a lot of people. And you feel like you're getting the feedback. It's not always positive, but you know that helps to make the product better. And it's really helpful because, for example, when I used to work at Intel, I got no feedback from the external users. It was mostly like some kind of research projects, and when you're doing something that real people touch and real people play with and real people rely on it, and it's kind of makes you to work better.
Nice. Do you have any stories? I mean, I could just imagine you get a letter from somebody that says, hey, I used WebStorm and I made my toaster jump up and down, or I don't know. But do you have any like really great success stories from people, you know, that have gotten back to the WebStorm team and just told you how awesome it is?
I think so. Yeah, quite. I think we have some, but it's kind of hard to remember it right now.
Right.
So, yes, sometimes people. What I really like is when sometimes people get somehow disappointed. For example, something is working slow or something not working as expected, and they jump to the Twitter and they go to the tracker and they post an issue,
right.
And quite a lot of issues can be really easily fixed, and it's really. It feels good when you are able to fix an issue in a 5 minutes time after someone submitted and people just come back and, wow, it's 5 minutes and you've already fixed that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've used products that had issues and, you know, I eventually quit because of the issue because a month or two later it's still not fixed and it's costing me time, money, or both. And then like a year or 2 years or 3 years later, you know, you get that email, okay, we fixed it. And it's like, well, you know, I'm used to this other tool now.
Yeah, it happens to us too. I won't lie. So some issues staying unfixed for too long. But really what helps us to keep the pace is that we really believe in dogfooding. So why IntelliJ IDE is so popular? Because we are using, and it works so good because we are using IntelliJ like every day.
Right.
Everyone is using. So quite a lot of people on the WebStorm team had some kind of side project or some kind of experimenting. And I used to play with TypeScript, Electron, and Angular 2 this summer, and it was really helpful to understand. It's like usually when you are doing some feature, it works somehow. It usually works okay, but it's really small bumps that really annoy you. Like it works well, but every time, for example, every time I want to select something, it selects like a little bit more or a little bit less. And you won't get that feeling if you are not doing some JavaScript development.
That's really cool. So what have you worked on lately in JavaScript?
I'm taking protective driving courses, and we have trainings, and some of the trainings are held in the class when you have to spin the wheel at the good pace. Mm-hmm. And what we did with a couple of my colleagues is that right now there's an Arduino connected to each wheel, and the speed of the rotation and the number of laps is collected. They are sent to the computer and displayed on the big screen. So what I did is the desktop application that shows you the results collected from the Arduinos.
Oh, that's really cool. So you're building JavaScript on Arduinos and doing some IoT stuff.
No, I'm just doing the desktop client on the Java in JavaScript, and the Arduino scene is in C.
Oh, okay.
So guys are using the C line. That's also JetBrains product for Arduino development.
Gotcha. So the JavaScript is the sort of the server that collects all the data and displays it for people.
Yeah, that's true.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and embedded development. It's kind of getting back to the roots.
Yeah, I'm doing somewhat of a similar thing, except I've built a Pinewood Derby track. I don't know if you know what that is, but here in the United States, Cub Scouts build little cars out of wood blocks, and then they race them on this track. And the track has 4 lanes, and it has an Arduino at the bottom that tells you how fast all the cars went. And yeah, that's what I'd like to build next, is the part that displays all of the results so that we don't have to type them into the computer.
Oh, looks cool.
I think that would be really, really fun. So, yep, someday. All right, any other projects that you're working on, or should we jump on over to picks?
So right now in WebStorm, I'm doing the framework stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
framework stuff like what?
Like Angular 1 and 2 support, React support, and stuff like that. And also, I'm trying to help the plugin developers. So I want to say a big thank you to the developers of the NativeScript and Ember plugin. We've been talking, I think, quite a lot recently, and I'm trying to help. And if someone wants to write a plugin for WebStorm to support some kind of technology, feel free to ping me.
That's very cool. So you've got or are getting Ember support, Angular support, React support, NativeScript support.
So basically, we have Angular and React support built in.
Okay.
And NativeScript and Ember plugins are developed by some third-party guys.
Mm.
And they are doing really, really great job.
I might have to get introductions to them. One other question that I'm kind of thinking about here is, it's JavaScript. So I'm assuming when WebStorm started, JavaScript was mostly kind of a front end thing. Node might have been around. I don't know. Maybe you were building for Node when you first started building it. I guess since you got on the team 4 years ago, Node was there. But now the ecosystem has changed. I mean, you talked about Electron. We've talked about IoT. We've talked about, you mentioned briefly NativeScript, which is mobile. So what's it like to maintain a product where you have to support a language that runs in so many different environments? I guess Java's kind of in a similar boat, though, so you have some experience there. I mean, do you just have plugins for all the rest of those, like React Native and?
I guess with Java it's a bit simpler because Java is not that fast.
Uh-huh. It's not that fast, meaning it doesn't execute quickly, or that it's not moving.
No, I'm meaning like you don't get a new framework every other day. Okay. So they have some kind of a plan what they are going to do. They have some kind of committee, and like you can plan accordingly. And they usually shift releases, so you just have enough time to support something. That's not really true in JavaScript because something comes out and next day something else comes out, and the next day version 2 of the first thing comes out, and it changes everything.
Yeah, nobody else feels that, just you guys.
I guess everyone feels that because you have to keep up the pace. If you want to be a professional, you have to know all the new stuff and understand at least something about what's going on.
So how do you keep up? How do you keep pace with the JavaScript community if you're building a tool that people can use for pretty much any of it?
We are trying to watch for the frameworks and we have some kind of the table where we keep tracks of the issues for support on our tracker, the votes for these issues, the number of stars on GitHub, the number of Stack Overflow questions, like quite a lot of metrics, and that's how we try to decide. And I don't know, the JavaScript Weekly helps.
Thank you, Peter Cooper.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. Well, if people want to check out what you're doing lately with I almost said JetBrains again. If people want to check out what you're doing lately with WebStorm, what should they do? Should they just go to JetBrains.com, or is it something else?
They can go to the JetBrains.com. There's a Twitter where we post our announcements for the new versions and for the EEP versions. And there is also a link to the blog where you can see more details on what's new in the builds, and something in depth, some instructions, tutorials, and stuff like that.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and do some picks. Did you bring stuff to pick? Yeah,
actually, I have one pick, and that would be Jet Vocals team singing "Carol of the Bells." That's our colleagues who did a really nice song for celebrating Christmas and New Year.
Very cool. Well, I've got a quick pick here. My son, we just moved him out of the regular school. He was having some problems there, so we put him in an online charter school. And if you don't know what that means, it's effectively he's going to school online. So we got him a Chromebook. And I didn't, I had never been interested in owning a Chromebook because it just doesn't handle enough for me to do everything I need to do. It does almost everything I need it to do, but it wouldn't quite cut it. And so, anyway, it's been kind of interesting helping him get it set up and helping him use it. I really like it as a system, especially if you're doing 99% of your work online. I think they're terrific systems. And it runs Chrome, so you can essentially run any of the Chrome plugins that you want. And so we've been installing some of those. Some of them are games, which is really cool. And anyway, that works out really well. Another thing that I'm going to pick is the wireless router is upstairs in my office. And he does his homework in the room essentially directly below me. And he gets decent Wi-Fi down there. But I bought these TP-Link over the electrical wires network plugs. And so essentially what it does is you plug one in up here in my office by the router, and then you plug the other one into the wall, downstairs into the power outlet, and then you just run Cat5 cables between the router and the one up here, and then the one downstairs in his computer. And that works actually really well. I've been really impressed. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these TP-Link, I don't know what to call them, power line adapters, I guess. And I'll put a link to those in the show notes. But thank you for coming, Dennis. This has been really fun to just chat. I'm really glad that I wound up bumping into you at NGConf last year.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Keep an ear out for the next one. I think it's going to be Michael Rogers from Node.js, so should be a lot of fun. All right, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Yeah, see you.
See ya. Hey there, this is Charles Max Wood, and I just wanted to talk to you really briefly about Freelance Remote Conf. I'm putting on a conference for people who want to go freelance or who are freelance, and bringing in some of the experts from the Freelancer Show to talk to you about how to find clients, how to collect money, how to build your business, how to specialize, and much, much more. So if you're thinking about going freelance, or you're already freelance and want to hear from the experts on how to go, become, or grow your freelancing business, then by all means, come check us out at freelanceremoteconf.com.